What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Comments from the Peanut Gallery podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. I'm here with a special guest today, my man, Caleb Crump. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Jordan. It's an honor to be on your podcast.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. I've had the pleasure of commentating a couple of your fights now, and it's just been it's fun to watch you grow as a fighter and as a martial artist. And you've got a big fight coming up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, man. I'm 3 weeks out and feeling ready to kill, man.
That's awesome, man. Where can people follow you?
The Peaceful Warrior 92 on Instagram, or just Caleb Crump on Facebook.
Awesome. And as far as details for your fight, what's the details? When, where, how can people watch it?
So I'm fighting on Fighting Alliance Championships, James Krause's organization, March 5th. It's going to be live on UFC Fight Pass.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So I've got to ask you, you've had a couple of fights now during we have to ask the ever necessary pandemic training question. How has it been for you navigating this time where the whole rest of the world outside of, kind of the martial arts or the sports world has gone crazy?
Man, I got just super duper blessed to have some really good people around me. Originally it looks like it was last March when everything kind of really shut down. And at one point, only Drew Dober on Team Elevation had a fight, and they were only letting him train and whoever he wanted his training partners to be. And I got lucky enough to be one of his training partners. And then it rolled over. Gaethje had a fight, and then a couple other people. So I always was able to train with Elevation, but all the gyms were closed. Like those were like secret, like behind closed doors type of trainings. So also me and my roommate, Arut Pagojan, we built a gym in our house. So we got wall mats all the way around. So I would basically train with Drew, and then I would come home and I would show Arut what I learned. And so I was still getting 2 trainings a day, and just overcoming adversity, basically. Never stopped training. I always told myself it would pay off, and March 5th is another opportunity to show that it's going to pay off.
Definitely. And you could have very well taken some time off. You fought February 29th last year down in Pueblo against Guitar Arcade, and coming into that fight, you had a fairly significant shoulder injury that you were just able to, through you're huge on your healing, your nutrition, taking care of your body, all of your recovery. You were able to overcome that hurdle and just kind of kept on parlaying that momentum going forward, as opposed to taking that time off.
Momentum is huge, and I just love the sport too much, man. Time off is like boring to me. Like, what do you mean I'm not fighting today? I don't know. For me, even a rest day is the hardest. Like, I gotta force myself to take a rest day, but I can give more during my days of training when I do take that rest day. So I've been pretty consistent with taking 1 day off a week for this camp.
Very nice. Now, what does that look like for you as far as your regimen? You're a vegan, right? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Going on 5 years strong now.
How do you feel that plays a role into your performance? There are a few martial art, like very high level guys, like your Nate Diaz's of the world, who I don't think he's full, but he's for the most part, he's a large share plant-based as far as that goes. So how do you think that plays a role for you specifically?
So I think it takes, taking care of your health is the biggest thing we have in this sport and in life. Health is wealth. So it's like a longevity attempt, I guess, trying to be as healthy as long as I can, to stay in the sport as long as I can. I got to take the best care of myself. A lot of plants are anti-inflammatory, and a lot of the things fighters deal with is inflammation. So I'm always trying to cut inflammation and, fuel my body up with the proper organic nutrients to give myself the best chance in the cage.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, I guess for, most of us knuckle draggers who come into the gym, we're all a bunch of steak eaters and, just throwing down, the protein and masses. So maybe for those, and especially those in the audience who follow along, who don't just understand what like a meal looks like that gives you that protein and completes that whole nutrient profile that an athlete really needs, what does a typical meal look like for you?
So every week I prep quinoa. Quinoa is actually by itself a complete protein. But then I'll do like quinoa, beans, and veggies. I'll probably have a meal like that 3 times a week. I have a big smoothie with tons of fruits and like veggies and protein every morning. I have a big smoothie. Um, I mean, really anything you can make like meat wise, you can make plant based. I have veggie burgers all the time and jackfruit tacos, whatever, jackfruit sliders. I actually got way better at cooking and learning about the food I eat from all the different ingredients. Before I went vegan, I wouldn't even worry about the ingredients. I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. I'll eat this, I'll eat that, whatever. But now I'm like super conscious of every ingredient that I consume. And I learned to cook better because just a lot of restaurants don't cater to vegan. So I was like, well, I'm probably better off making my own meals. It's cheaper that way. So I'm happy with it. And when I'm done fighting, I'd like to open up my own vegan restaurant. So I'm always kind of just preparing for that, like testing recipes off my roommates. They love it.
Okay. So that, I
So
guess
yeah.
that kind of just that steamrolled what my next question was going to be. I was going to ask, do you miss it at all? Like, I mean, some people I know that like you'll make a dietary change or a lifestyle change based off of what like for the performance base, you know what I mean? That, it's helping you for all
Mhm.
those reasons that you just mentioned, cutting inflammation, it's helping to increase longevity, those sorts of things. And some people will do that, and you see it in other sports as well, where you'll maintain that diet or that lifestyle while you're needing it for your performance. But as soon as you step away, then, oh no, like I sacrificed for all of those years. Now it's time for me, it's time for me to indulge. It's time to me to kind of enjoy the fruits of my labor, if you will. And I'm going to go in with this, with some bacon and some steak and whatever. You know what I mean? So it doesn't sound like you really miss that sort of end of things.
No, no, and people actually ask me that question all the time. And it's just a big fat no, I don't miss it whatsoever. I think I eat much better, much healthier, much more diverse foods than I was before, just eating, chicken, beef, and pigs, I guess those three animals. Um, yeah, man, I don't miss it one bit, and I don't ever plan on going back. So one of the original things I started looking into a plant-based diet was because my mom has cancer, and
Oh
I
man, I'm
found
sorry to
out
hear
that you
that.
can reverse many diseases with a plant-based lifestyle. So I was like, I'm gonna adopt this and try to convince my mom, and she's doing really good. She's not completely vegan, but she's mostly plant-based. Tons of plant supplements, different types of mushrooms, and all kinds of things. She's doing great. She didn't do chemotherapy, and she's still doing good. So um, I don't ever see myself going back to eating meat.
I mean, I think that you have a lot of reasons to not, or I guess that supplements your decision on that side of things. Now, this is going to be your second fight that's on Fight Pass. Is that correct? Your last fight was on Fight Pass, and then this one's going to be on it. So, and those are the only two so far, correct?
I wish that was true. My very, very first amateur fight, I tore my ACL, and that embarrassing fight is also on Fight Pass. So this will be my third one. My second professional fight on Fight Pass.
Gotcha. Okay, well, all those fights when you were in Army, those don't count anyway, right? That's all. Scrape the record to the
No,
side for
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. We're moving
Yep,
forward.
yep.
We're moving forward. So tell us what
Yes,
can we
sir.
expect to see from you come March when you enter the cage? What can we expect?
You can expect to see a highly focused, highly prepared um, fighter, a well-rounded. I think this is going to be a good fight to show that I'm not just a grappler, um, that I have good striking, that I can put everything together. Um, I'd like to say you can expect to finish, but I'm prepared to fight all 15 minutes if it comes to it. But I feel I feel that my jiu-jitsu is just just that much better. I think I'm gonna finish this, man. But like I said, whatever happens, because like actually my last fight in FSC, I thought I was gonna finish the man. And that guy was very tough, and he didn't want to tap, even though he was in his triangle arm bar, and his arm was moving all kinds of ways. So I'm ready to fight 15 minutes, but expect a highly prepared and focused individual in that cage, ready to throw some bombs.
Yeah, I mean that one, that was a gritty war. That was a hard fought battle. I mean, there was definitely there was some adversity on each side, and that submission attempt that you had, that was deep, man. So I've got to give a lot of kudos on that, because that was almost like, for the people who didn't see the fight, think the torque on the joint almost the way that Oliveira had to Ferguson.
It was
Like
the same
that,
week.
yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of exact look on just the opposite bend of that joint was insane. I just personally I thought, man, who knows what we're gonna see from this. Like, does this elbow pop at any moment? Like, sitting there watching, like, holy shit.
Yeah, I definitely thought I had probably injured that last guy a little bit.
Could you hear any pops or anything?
I didn't hear any pops, bro, but I watched the fight like 15 times, and his arm goes in some very unnatural ways. Perhaps he's one of those double jointed fellows. I'm not sure, but it was unnatural the way his arm moved, for sure. But what I took from that is that chokes are better than joint manipulations. It can't be too much of a choke.
Exactly. Eventually you're just going to go to sleep when it comes to a choke.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's going to be a little more of the aim for this fight. But, I'll snatch up whatever I see.
Awesome. Who were some of your inspirations as it comes to your style and just within the fight game in general?
I mean, you said Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz has always been an inspiration. GSP, I've always been a huge fan of GSP. And then, shoot, like half the fighters in Elevation, man. I'm super blessed to be on the team I'm at, and just look around and seeing superstars, seeing UFC gold, and man, it's an inspiration every day to be in that room.
Definitely. Now, if you had to say to any sort of profound moment within your career or time, maybe it was a fight, maybe it was just a day in training, is there a moment where you knew, like, this is what I want to do? Like I was made for this? Because everybody who first steps in and starts training, like, yeah, you always have these grandiose thoughts and ideas, you know what I mean? But then everybody inevitably gets that reality check at some point, to where you're like, oh man, like, maybe I'm not that good. And then after a little while, you overcome those hurdles and you build yourself back up, and you're like, okay, like, yeah, I do belong. Like, this is something that I can do, and that I don't have imposter syndrome. I deserve a spot at this table.
That's a good question. I had a pretty good amateur year in 2018, and I felt like I was ready to move on to the pros. I felt like so I won an amateur belt. One specific moment, actually, you could say, while I was still an amateur, I competed against Drew Dober in a jiu-jitsu competition, and I beat him. And I also beat Devontae Smith in a jiu-jitsu competition while I was still an amateur. And these guys are both in the UFC. And I'm like, man, I'm fighting for free, and these guys are fighting for real money. Like, I was like, I think I can start to hang with some of these guys. And also in that year, I won a blue belt world championship, and I was like, all right, like, I think this is for me.
Nice. I mean, that's definitely some confidence builders, and not to not to put too much of a feather in your cap, but those are some pretty big names to drop right then and there. Devontae has a big knockout this last weekend. Drew has a fight coming up, and he's coming off of. Oh, did I lose you for a second?
For a second, yeah, you cut out for a second. I can hear you now.
Yeah, my fault. Yeah, so I just said those were a couple of that's a couple of pretty good names that you were able to top in that competition there. Devontae, obviously he had a huge TKO win just the other night on the UFC Vegas 18 card. Drew has a fight that's coming up.
Yeah.
So,
I
you
was
know, I
happy to
mean,
see that. That's awesome.
yeah, that's
Islam, yeah, huge fight.
yeah, that Colorado MMA, like that was basically like, you know, for all the different people that had connections and ties throughout the card this last week, and it was basically like UFC Colorado card. You know, there's four of the a
There
third
was
of
a
the.
bunch of Colorado.
Yep, exactly. You know, I mean that's it's just become such a mecca for the sport here. What do you, how does that feel to you to be
Absolutely.
training in like one of the epicenters for the sport across the world?
Man, super blessed. I wrestled through middle school, high school, college. Well, I guess on middle school we were state champs, so I was the best team there. But in high school and in college, I was never on the best team. And now I'm fighting professionally, and I feel like I'm on the best team, and that's a huge confidence boost for me. Um, I know that I can go in there and gauge where I'm at with some of the best guys in the world. And if I can hang, I'm like, okay, I can for sure smash some guys in the regional scene and hopefully earn my ticket to the UFC.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, and you know, there's you guys there. There's us right down the street. You know, two of the top teams in the world. There's obviously, I mean, I feel like some
There's
of
a
the main.
plethora of other great gyms in the area as well. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, all the way up and down the front range. You know, you go up north, up to Fort Collins. You have Trials, who's put out some pretty big names so far. You know, you still have the undefeated Justin Gonzalez. You have Mike Stack, who's on the rise, coming up through the LFA ranks. You know, you have some names all up and down the front range that are doing some big things within the sport. And I just feel like really and truly though, the big super teams in Denver kind of set the tone for everybody. You know, we have guys that are, you know, between you guys and us respectively, almost every single week we're a representation on a card. So I think that's huge for the state
Yep.
as a whole, because that just puts that much more of a spotlight on everybody else that's here or within those teams. You know, you go and you fight on a card out there in Missouri, and then they see, you know, they look up and down just that sheet, you know, say maybe someone from Missouri who isn't familiar directly on the scene, but they're going to look up and down that bout sheet and they're going to see, oh, Caleb Crump out of Elevation. Or, you know, you go to any other show out there in the country. You know, I've just, you know, throw one random show out there, you know, Bayou Showdown or something down in like, you know, Shreveport, Louisiana, something like that. Those places, you're going to go anywhere in the country and people will look and they'll see and they'll notice and they'll recognize that team name next to you. So I feel like that speaks volumes for where the sport is came and for where Colorado's representation of what this sport is as a whole is. You know what I mean? Like that's a global representation at this point. You mentioned, you know, one of your roommates, you know, he's fought around the world as well. There's many guys out here that have came from all around the world to train in Denver. Like that's incredible to me.
Yep. It's phenomenal. Yeah, man. I'm just trying to do my best to soak it all in and learn as much as I can from all these wise minds, you know, pouring into me.
Iron sharpens iron though, man. Like I feel like if you're putting yourself into the fire with those types or with that caliber of competitors and just overall knowledge base of people on a consistent basis, you're gonna grow because of it. You know, if you're willing to take the constructive criticism as it comes along, and sometimes that doesn't have to be verbal. That could be just that, you know what, you trained with a guy who is really good and he whooped your ass that day. So it's a thing of you learn that, you know what, I need to learn how to not put myself in that position again. Well, you know
Oh
what?
yeah.
You grew from that, because if that guy is that good and he did it to you and then you're able to stop him from doing that to you in the future, what are you going to be doing against, you know, like say someone who then, oh, all right, by the time fight night comes, you've already seen that, you know, I,
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. I always say you get your ass kicked all the way to the top.
yep, exactly. You know, James Krause, you mentioned you know you're fighting for Krause's promotion. Krause told us all one time something that just always was just such a profound statement that sticks out in my mind. Like, if you want to be that dude, you've got to put yourself in the fire to be that dude every single day until you are.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I lost you for a second. Something about putting in the fire every day, and then I lost you.
Yeah, you say, you just, if you really want to be that guy, you've got to put yourself in the fire every single day until you are. You can't be afraid
Yep,
of, you can't
straight
be
up.
afraid
You
to
gotta have
face
that rest day
adversity.
too. The one rest day that sticks fire days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, being smart, but just the mindset of, you can't pick and choose the days that you want to turn it on. When it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yep. Although I will say for this camp, I've been doing more drilling, more focusing on just a lot of drilling, just building that muscle memory, so that I don't really have to think about what I'm going to do. It just comes out automatically.
I agree. And by that, I don't want it to be confused as saying that, you have to go like full Vanderlei, shoot the box, like hard balls to the wall every single day. I mean, just meaning that, okay, so maybe it is just that's your drilling, but were you there in the moment? Were you intent, what was your intent and was your purpose there in the moment while you were drilling those reps? Or were you just going through the motions? Was every single sequence that you drilled, was that something that you cognitively processed and that you truly, felt like you were putting water in the basement, money in the bank, use whatever cliche it is that you're talking about for building that foundation for future success in the fight game? You know what I mean? It was that something, or were you just, what? Yeah, I know I got to get through, 100 reps of this pass today, or, 100 of this and this on the bag. And I just went through it. I got my 100 reps, but there's a difference between getting your 100 reps and getting your 100 reps, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You got to put your heart and your soul into it.
Yep, absolutely.
100%, man. Because you fight how you train, so you better be training like proper.
Definitely. What are some other goals that you have for 2021?
Oh, good question. I mean, I would love to make it into the UFC this year. If I could fight 4 times this year, win all 4, that would put me in a real good place to make it. The fact that I'm fighting in March is consistent with that goal of 4 fights this year. So that's my biggest goal for the year. Make it, if not to the UFC, knocking on their doorstep, letting them know I'm going to be there soon.
Awesome, man. Now, is there anybody that you want to throw a shout out to? Teammates, coaches, managers, sponsors, anybody out there?
Oh man, I'm glad you asked. So Elevation Fight Team, super grateful to be a part of them. I've been working my striking with Oscar Martinez at Muay Thai of Colorado, and man, that's been a game changer for me. He knows what he's talking about. He's a great dude and great knowledge, and we work together really well. I've been working with him just since August, and I feel my striking has increased leaps and bounds since then. I've also been training jiu-jitsu with Colorado Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Satori with Sean Stewart and Terry Stewart and Don Westman, and they've been pouring a lot of love and attention into me and helping me getting my jiu-jitsu really on point, getting everything coming together. So I'm grateful for them. Thank you to Mollywop Sports helping me get these fights. Great management. Okay, as far as sponsors, let's see, Leafy Organic, shout out that they hooked me up with some turmeric and ginger, a little tincture. Roots Apothecary has been really good to me. Got Storm Solutions. Wow, I should have wrote this down.
Good brother, no worries.
Those are the people off the top of my head. So thank all those people. Obviously, Root Pagojan, my roommate. He's also going to be cornering me in this fight. Super grateful to have him in my corner and helping me out with everything. So I'm just blessed, man. I probably didn't thank half the people I should be, but there's a lot of people just pouring into me, and I'm just in a blessed state, and I'm just grateful to be able to do what I love for money, man. It's almost a little bit surreal, but I'm just embracing it and moving forward.
Awesome. Now, Caleb, I want to ask you this last question here. If you had to offer one bit of advice to a first day walking through the gym, Caleb Crump, what would it be?
Wow. Well, I would definitely say train some jiu-jitsu because I didn't train jiu-jitsu until I got choked out in my second MMA fight, and I was like, oh gosh, I need to learn this stuff.
Okay.
But other than that, just just stay consistent, and surround yourself with it and not where you tolerate it. So I think that's important to surround yourself with good energy.
Definitely, definitely, my man. One last time, can you let everybody know where
Did you
they
lose
can
me?
No, I've still got you, my man. I've still got you. You there?
Okay, sorry.
Oh, no, no worries, no worries. I
Yeah,
don't
you
know
froze
which
for a
end.
second, but as long as you heard me.
Yeah, I heard you through, no problem. It's showing as it's good signal on my end. I don't know what's going
Okay,
on
cool.
with it, but where can people follow you one last time?
The Peaceful Warrior 92 on Instagram, or just Caleb Crump on Facebook.
Thank you, Caleb.
And
And
then UFC Fight Pass March 5th.
absolutely, brother, absolutely. And is there anything that we haven't covered or that we haven't touched so far today that you want to get out there for the people to hear?
All glory to God, man. I'm just grateful to be alive. It's all because of him.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. I really do appreciate you. Caleb, we will be tuning in, watching for you to put on a show come March on FAC. I am excited to see where your career continues to grow. Like I say, I feel like we've had a chance to kind of grow together in some ways. Like I say, me on the commentary scene on the rise, and you out there in the cage doing your thing. So it's been a pleasure, my man. Thank you so much for taking the time, and we will see you all next time. Perfect. Thank you, bro. I will
Thank you,
cut it
brother.
off right there. It should be up and posted within the next day or two, and I'll send you the links and everything as soon as I get it all posted to the website and everything.
Awesome, man. Cheers. Have a good day.
Cheers. Awesome. Thank you, brother. You have a great one, bro. Have a good one.
You too.
Peace.
Peace.